All right, take a
One
billion.
of Musk's Doge bros explains how he flagged DEI grants for termination.
God, I miss Musk.
Oh, yeah. So you missed it? Shut up.
You don't regret that people might have lost important income to support them.
So his first way of Karenology is to make this guy be the bad guy, because it's farming pity, panic, or pretty. So he's trying to get some pity points of like, don't you feel pity on the people that you took money from? He's asking this guy. And the other part is trying to get him to panic at being like, he's a mean guy. He takes money from people. So those are he's already off the gate trying to do two different things. And the guy that's asking questions is trying to look pretty when he's talking about this stuff. So he's doing all three Karenology vectors.
Let me turn this one up.
You don't regret that people might have lost important income.
Oh yes, they're victims of losing income for their fraud they were doing.
Patriot.
But they're framing it as losing income rather than that the income was made from a fraudulent mechanism.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's compelled misunderstanding. It's mastering misunderstanding is what they're trying to do. They're trying to obfuscate by using language that people that don't know what's happening will easily misunderstand what's happening.
Support their lives.
No.
No.
I think it was more important to reduce the federal deficit from $2 trillion to close to zero.
Right, that's the bottom line.
That's right.
We just don't have that money.
Nope.
No,
Yeah, that was his job.
This is a history of the HIV/AIDS prison movement and its legacy.
This is the history. Wait, what?
No, we didn't.
This is a history.
Grant proposal. This is a history of the HIV/AIDS prison movement. So this is the people he was trying to cut. So he's cutting the history for the prison movement. So the prison movement
of AIDS
has a history
Of the HIV/AIDS prison movement and its legacies.
and
in
the
United
legacy
States.
of being gay and getting HIV.
Yeah, it's a
My
legacy.
project.
Man.
Book project narratives. How activists fought in the convergence. They fought against it, or they fought to get it. I don't understand it.
Narrates how activists
They
fought
fought
the
against
convergence of
AIDS.
HIV/AIDS and incarceration
He's laughing, bro.
from inside and outside prison.
AIDS and incarceration from inside and outside prisons
Prisons
across
across the Reagan through
the
Clinton
Reagan
years,
through Clinton years.
And argues that
and
this
argues-
organizing holds legacies in the prison abolition movement of the 1990s to today. This is one of the grants that you or Mr. Fox identified as craziest.
Craziest,
is that
right.
Craziest. The craziest one.
Right, now that word they're going to, so even AI doesn't like the word crazy. So they don't like it, it's a mean word. And so he's labeling this guy as calling another person a mean word, which is crazy. So he's like, you use the crazy word, right? The mean word, that this person's crazy. And you're using it, and he's using it against the minorities
that's about right, huh?
of sexuality.
Oh man, I love it.
That's right.
Why did you
That's
identify
right.
this as one of the craziest grants?
Because it references feminist and queer insights into prison abolition.
So wait, so abolition is trying to get rid of it, right?
Yeah, abolish. The
So
right.
it's
One of the craziest
insight
grants.
from gays and HIV people.
Because it references.
Well, how they should get rid of the prison system.
But it's the feminists' idea.
Yeah,
So the
the feminists
feminists
and queer
are the ones
And
that
queer
sat there and listened.
insights. So the I think the Madness of Crowds talks about this, how the Karens and the queers united to try to get the scam bags. they want the scam bags, and so they're like, are there any gays in prison? Because so in prison, the people that are gay tend to be in a dominant structure because they don't really. A lot of them don't want to be gay in prison, but it's opportunity, incident, and it's not gay if it's in prison. But still, a lot of them that tend to be dominant in that, they tend to be more of the manipulative side, to manipulate others based on money, coercion, to get someone else to be their bottom. But anyway, so that's the person.
But they have insights. They have
Yeah,
insights
so
on why
that
they should
person's
abolish the prison.
insights about how to abolish prison. So it's like, it's like going into a prison and being like, where are the gays at? What's their insight about how to stop prison? Like, imagine going to the Wild West or like the medieval ages and then being like, so who's getting anal over here? And why? What do you think we need to get rid of these prisons here? Like, that sounds like a thing that a Karen would ask. Let me see the prison manager. Okay. How do we abolish prison? Well, obviously the people that want to abolish prison are the people that are in prison that are getting sex voluntarily or involuntarily. But it's anyway, so queer insights. And queer are people that they're not really have a team. They're on team whatever makes them feel good. And they want their insights into abolishing
into
prison.
abolition.
And we paid for that. That's
yeah,
a grant.
So
that we
that's
paid
what
for.
we're not researching, like cancer. We're not researching how to get people to not go to prison. We're trying to research from the people in prison, getting HIV in prison, like the degenerates that are not generating good things. They're generating more diseases, and they yes, it's bad that they're on the tail end and all of that, but
They have an
definitely-
idea, though.
Huh?
Dude, they have ideas. They know why
Well,
we should abolish prisons.
Also,
They know.
if
They
that's
have the
their
answers.
identity, then that's what they want, right? They wanted it to be that because that's what they want us to recognize that that's who they are. But isn't that something we don't want to like? We don't want people to go to prison, right? It's not prison's fault that crime's being committed. It's the criminal's fault that crime's being committed.
Correct.
And LGBTQ studies.
So LGBTQ is trying to figure out how to abolish prison.
All right.
Yeah, they've
And
got it figured
what's
out.
their insight?
This one we're waiting on.
We'll
okay,
never know.
let's go.
We canceled those grants, sir.
So why'd
We'll
you
never
do that?
know.
Yeah, we
He just
needed
lets them know.
how many more years
Thank
until we
God.
got some
You
sort
okay?
of answer and the best way
No,
to
I'm
abolish?
not. I'm happy.
Yeah.
See,
Do we have to just like make more people gay and then that'll abolish prison?
They were asking.
this
they were asking
this
the
guy, I
fags
think
what
they said
happened.
he was like 29, right? He
They
looks
were asking
younger,
the questions.
but he said he's like 29. He's in his 20s.
So it says
was very-
studies, and study is like a good sounding word. But
Oh yeah.
how are they studying, right? What questions are they asking? I just want to know, like, break down their day. Like, on their day of, okay, I'm now going to study LGBTQ, like, are they themselves having sex and, like, taking notes? Or they're like, okay, you had the sex, right? That was one of these identities? All right,
Yeah,
what's
that'd
your
be
insight into how to get rid of prison?
Dude, that'd be so epic if we could just get if that grant, like they just published whatever they had so far and just be like, we could look through it and see what kind of nonsense they were.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's because we have to make an example out of some of these things because that's the thing is that we don't really learn how stupid it is. Like people that understand how stupid this is, like they already know, but they don't get to the nitty gritty to really expose the actual mechanisms of their studies. So instead of saying, oh, they're studying it, they were asking questions to gay people about how to stop prison. And their question was, hi, sir, in prison, how do you think we can get rid of prison based on a gay guy? What's your gay guy perspective? That's the question that they're asking. And remember, if they don't want to give us their study mechanisms, then the real answer must be really bad.
Worried that my generation
Because they're like, yeah, we'll go
would-
with that. The real answer is worse.
is going to just be the biggest losers until the next generation came out. It seems like we have a new generation of base chuds. And I think that these young men can hopefully save us from the fat Karenocracy
Right.
that we have allowed to fester and rot our country.
Right. Rotting through success.
This guy's a patriot. I love it.
Like rotting through peace. Because whenever there's a peacetime, then people start not knowing right from wrong because there's not really any real hard consequences. There's just so many cush buffers that prevent them from seeing like second world, third world, fourth world consequences when people don't pay attention in school or in schools of studies that actually matter when it comes to producing results and producing solutions.
100%.
It's amazing.
Any other reasons?
No.
That's it. Oh, you're using queer and feminist studies about getting rid of prison?
Right, and this guy already knows that the person that's talking to him is coming at from a vector of, like, accusing this guy of, oh, like, how did it go in the start in the beginning? In the very
You're
beginning,
taking the money from the feminists and the. It's right at the very beginning. He's like, oh,
like, how dare we take away their money?
yeah.
I love it.
For their lives.
No.
No.
I think it was more important to reduce the federal deficit from $2 trillion
Right,
to
so
close.
they're asking him why is he removing
Let me
money
turn
from these
this one up.
people, and he says because I'm trying to reduce the deficit.
You don't regret that
Yeah.
people
Like,
might have
did
lost
everybody forget that was why?
important income to
Oh, see, here we go. The
Income,
interviewer's
yeah.
asking, don't you feel bad about taking away their income? So he's trying to get this guy to panic by being like, wow, you're stealing from these people. And then
Yep.
he's also trying to he's trying to
Poor
paint this
people.
guy as a villain. And then he's trying to paint the other people as a victim of, like, they're victimized by having their income taken away from them. So he's trying to do the pity and the panic point farming that Karens do, because Karens, they farm pity, panic, and pretty, because all three of those vectors have nothing to do with logic. It has to do with trying to figure out how to invalidate before the logic begins. So the guy that's asking questions is trying to sound very educated and appear very educated and ask him these questions with very sophisticated language to sound like he's sophisticated, of like income, not money, income. So it's using words that people that are lower IQ have less chance of following.
Yeah. Well, he's
Patriot.
misconstruing the facts.
Yeah,
Champion.
he's mastering misinterpretation.
for their lives.
No.
Because he's
I think it
framing
was more
it like
important
this
to
guy's
reduce
taking
the
away
federal
money from
deficit
people
from
for
$2 trillion
no
to
reason.
close to zero.
And it's not just money;
That's
it's their
right.
income.
Reduce the
That's how they get paid. It's their income.
Yeah,
It's their job.
The history of
How are
the
they ever going to
HIV/AIDS
survive? Their
prison movement
children
and its
are going
legacies
to
in the United
starve
States.
from no money.
My book project narrates how activists fought the convergence of HIV/AIDS and incarceration.
Fought
He's laughing,
convergence.
bro.
What does even convergence mean in this? Convergence. Converging. Meeting place. So it's
From inside and out, it's how activists
fought the meeting place of HIV.
the convergence of HIV/AIDS and
AIDS,
incarceration.
incarceration.
bro.
So it's like people in prison get HIV and AIDS, and that's why they're the victim.
Probably.
From inside and
Okay.
outside prisons across the Reagan through Clinton years, and argues
That
that
kind of like reduces the idea that it's their fault that they had sex that gave them the HIV. So my understanding is celibates don't really get HIV. I'm pretty sure people get HIV from having sex unprotected. And my understanding is in prison they're probably having very grody anal. And
organizing
With
holds
with
legacies.
legacies in the prison.
Right? So they're trying to paint this guy that this guy's destroying people's legacy. Their legacy of how people got HIV in prison.
Abolition movement of the 1990s.
In the prison abolition movement of the 90s to today. So remember the NEH, which is the people that he's trying to defund, are part of them, started in 1965. So that's the beginning of them consolidating power like Sauron. So Karens were consolidating power a little bit after the peacetime happened, because peacetime happened after World War II, Vietnam, and all that stuff. And then 1965 had a lot of those baby boomer people, a lot of that Woodstock people, that they started having all these, like, let's explore our identities in peacetime. So they started to defeat themselves during peacetime. And that 1965, it took them time to consolidate power like Sauron. It's like in 1965, they couldn't have done this, but it took them 40 to 60 years to consolidate enough power to have a stranglehold over academia, to have a stranglehold over a lot of these type of movements and levers of government.
Yeah, so they could get to the point where they could do whatever they want and give and,
Right.
and grant out money to any group they like chose.
Right.
They chose
In
the groups to get the money.
in the same way that Sauron didn't just immediately start fighting. He first wanted to corrupt Theoden in he wanted to corrupt Saruman. He wanted to corrupt the wild men. He wanted to corrupt all these different factions, and he wanted to breed new types of orcs into Uruk-hai. So before he fought, he did all this research and all this scaffolding to get strong enough to fight. But he didn't want to fight. He wanted people to have peace before he actually fought. But the same thing with the Karens. With just one Karen, they don't have any power. But as soon as they start having this committee and this committee and this committee to give them cosigns of these licenses and these things, then now they have all these different levers to turn off these streams of money to people and to provide grants from taxpayers. So now whoever has the lever of this grant can then transfer this large portion of money from the taxpayers to this random study that who knows how they're studying it.
To today. This is one of the grants that you or Mr. Fox identified as craziest.
And that's another one of those things where he's now trying to get this guy to panic by making this guy sound bad. Because even AI will say it doesn't... Like, when I try to make AI memes, and I say, oh, this group of person is crazy, AI doesn't let me. Because it says the word crazy is a word with extra connotations that is stigmatized that it doesn't want me to use in the memes I make. And so the same exact thing with this is that he is identifying the naughty word here, the hateful word, which is calling people crazy. So he's saying, how dare this person use this hate speech of crazy of this other person? So he's saying this guy's mean, he needs to panic because he should feel bad about being a meanie head for calling these other people crazy. Not just crazy, but the craziest. So how does this guy feel about, does he have any remorse is what they're trying to ask him. And he's going to be like, let's talk about why I called him that. That's just a label, a rhetorical label, but there's more underneath the surface. It's almost like they're trying to do TikTok logic of hearing one word the person said and being like, not why did he call them crazy? Let's just have him take back that they were crazy. But he's trying to panic.
That's why I don't like these. I don't like these depositions because they never go back and forth. It's always just like they just keep asking him these questions to try and like paint them as the villain, but you don't like. They don't. You'll see as the video goes on. They don't ask detailed questions and they don't allow them to really have back and forth.
Right, like a cross-examination where this guy can ask the other guy some questions. Like, where does this guy that's asking questions stand? I mean, I understand this guy that's asking questions is like a lawyer type guy who's he's already very lizard-like, so he's just going to chameleon to whatever he needs to win the bag, right?
Craziest, the craziest ones.
Right, so the other people are victims of being called crazy.
Yeah, that's about
That's
right,
the way he's trying to paint them.
Oh man, I love it.
They're so victims of being called crazy.
That's right.
Why do you
that's right.
This is one of the craziest grants?
Because it references feminist and queer insights into prison abolition and LGBTQ studies.
And what insights are those? What did they glean from the inmates about being gay?
I really
and how they should end prison.
All right.
Yeah, that one's the easy part.
How to fix crime? Talk to the people that have
go.
committed crime who are gay. They should know more
why'd you
answers.
do that? He just lets them know.
They have the best
Thank
perspectives.
God. You okay? No, I'm not. I'm happy.
Because they're gay.
See, this guy, I think they said he was like 29, right? He looks younger, but he says he's like 29. He's in his 20s. I was very worried.
Were they born with those insights? Or did they get those insights from being gay over time? And they gained some sort of experience.
And in prison with AIDS.
That heterosexuals or ultra-heterosexual males haven't encountered that reason or logic or experience before that would give them that insight. That insight is reasons that requires being gay to learn in their perspective. So they're trying to make anybody that's not gay insignificant to their logic. Like they're trying to invalidate us because we're not gay. You
Pretty
can only
much.
we can the grant is like imagine who's a heterosexual person who wants to abolish prison. They're not allowed to get that money. They're not gay enough, and that's the part where the people that are not gay are being bullied because we're not getting money to study how to abolish prison, even if that's something that we want to do. I think what we should do is instead of trying to abolish where we hold criminals, try to figure out how to reduce crime and the people that do crime, because there's always going to be people that are doing crime. It's not like we're going to live
Yeah.
in a world, because I think that's the idea they have is like we're going to live in a world where the society are not going to require prisons anymore. That's like a utopian perspective of idealism that eventually we're going to have peace where everybody's just nice and nobody's ever mean, and everybody who is nice is truly nice and not faking it. Like,
Yeah.
they can't understand that there are people that fake things.
Yeah.
That my generation was.
They should be. The grant should be studying for-profit prisons, but the prisons aren't gonna really want that.
Well, but
Grant.
prisons don't want to get rid of prison. And that's one reason why they don't
Correct.
want to let go of anybody. Every single body is a price tag. It's a cash cow. So that's one reason why they want to get rid of capital punishment. It's not the inmates. Well, inmates also, but also the prisons. If they execute an inmate, now they have one less body to collect money and grants for. So the main people that have allowed capital punishment to go away are the people that are holding the criminals. And it's almost like a handshake where the criminals are like, hey, I don't want to die. And the prisons are like, I don't want to lose my money for this guy being in a bed. And then the lawyers are like, I will make sure that this keeps going and I get some money too. And then the academia is like, where are the gays at? What's their perspective on this?
Yeah, let's give them some money.
And
Because the grant is never gonna like come to a conclusion that to abolish
and
the prison system.
what
So
makes
it's just money. It's just money being handed out.
What provides evidence that the LGBTQ people would have insight that we can't get anywhere else? Like, have they already gotten that in another dimension? Like, have they learned that getting insight from a LGBTQ HIV person is just much better, or is it just that specific grant that's what they apply it to, or is there any other world where their insight is helpful in? Like, how were they able to convince people of that reason? How were they able to convince someone that, hey, yeah, this insight from LGBTQ individuals is like life-changing, society-changing?
I think it's just buzzwords, dude. I think it's
Yeah,
just like
and it
they
confuses
just say all
people.
the buzzwords. Yeah, it's so confusing. They're just like, oh, these kids, they got it figured out. We're gonna give them money, and they're gonna figure out the prison system.
Yeah, they're trying to
It's
get
'cause
people
they're
to
they're on our
panic
team.
because it's like, oh no, we're talking about the buzzwords. And a lot of people that don't study it think that they're going to get trapped in some sort of mean trap where now they're getting arrested for being hateful, even though people are just asking questions and challenging them by asking them questions or wrong think. So people will then just kind of be bystanders in the whole entire thing, and they don't really have any pushback because people are panicking. And that's why consuming the book Madness of Crowds is important. Madness of Crowds by Douglas Murray is written by a gay guy who says that there's a lot of gay people that are doing it just for the rewards from society, from like DEI and whatnot, that he doesn't like that because he's gay because it was his choice. He doesn't like the gays that say it wasn't their choice to be gay, that they were born that way. And the Born This Way psychological hinge came from Lady Gaga in her Born This Way album or song, because it introduces the concept that we don't have any choices. And that if I am born as LGBTQ, that I don't have a choice in that, and that I'm a victim of my genetics. Not that I chose this life of getting HIV and having no lineage, not being able to get a girl, or not wanting to get a girl because they're not attractive to a gay guy. That they're a victim of that circumstance rather than, no, they committed the crime because there's the choice. They are into homosexuality is their choice. Now they can do that, and I don't. It takes guys off the sexual marketplace, so it's beneficial to me as a heterosexual man to have homosexuals off the market of dating women heterosexually. But the bad part is that our birth rate's going down. And is it a coincidence?
Yeah, no, it is not.
Going to just be the biggest losers until the next generation came out.
Because they were trained by the Karens.
It seems like we have a new generation of base chuds. And I think that these young men can hopefully save us from the fat Karenocracy that we have allowed to fester and rot our
The born
country.
this way also applies to the fatties out there.
This guy's a patriot.
It's not their choice that they
him.
eat and at the wrong times of the day or eat the wrong
amazing.
foods and don't exercise enough. It's
Any
their
other
body's
reasons?
fault.
No.
That's it.
GOP ones. Have
Oh, you're
really killed
using
that
queer
movement.
and feminist studies about getting rid of prison? You're going in the garbage. Why? I just said you're in the garbage now.
Right,
That's
because
it. Your
trying to
job's
interact with these people, they're not they're the bad faith communicators. Their job is not having a job and just chameleoning whatever they need to do to make the money. And so they're going to keep the conversation going until they find an in. And so it's not like we're going to catch them in some bullshit and they're going to like, got me, I'm now going to stop. They're just going to keep going like, yeah, but let's talk to some more academics until we find more people to co-sign me. Huh, let's see what AI says about it. Let's keep the conversation going until I win or people get bored and don't want to have the conversation anymore. So that's one thing that they do. They do the boredom barrier, where they try to kick people out of the conversation by being really, really boring and not interesting to people that are trying to improve themselves in life. It's like where dreams and productivity goes to die.
That's it. You're done.
Grant description. Here's another one. Examining
military service from the margins. The
From the margins.
Service discussion series will bring together veterans and community members to examine the experiences of service members who identify themselves
as female,
Black, Native American, LGBTQ, or an
all the
immigrant.
message
The
people.
dynamics, reasoning, and strength behind serving a country that does not always serve you in return. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
They're trying to be a
Mr. Fox
victim.
identified this as one of the craziest grants at any age.
Yes, it appears so.
Why?
Because they're trying to say that they're a victim because of their identity, not because of some sort of individualized choices or interaction, interpersonal. And so instead of actually trying to figure out who is doing this, they're saying just society in general. So they're not trying to track down who wronged them. They're just trying to say that just by the fact that they were born this way, they're a victim. And who victimized them? Just don't we already know that? Like they don't want to have a conversation about how them being those identities have made them wrong, or if they have those conversations, they just keep going on and on and on and on about situations that didn't specifically happen to them. So they do what's called proxy complaining. So they say, oh, these other people with my identity have suffered these things. I'm that identity. Therefore, I'm a victim just like them. So they themselves are not the victim. They're saying people that look or sound like me or act like me or have same sexuality like me have these victim characteristics. So since I also share the characteristic of these identities, I also share the victim characteristic also.
Yeah.
So they're trying to like piggyback onto any other victim they can just based on some shared quality that they can. So they're doing that they're being racial and they're being sexist by being like, let me point at something I have in common with this victim. And since I have that in common with them, I should collect the victim rewards also.
And it's military service that they're like.
That they serve military.
Service examining military service
Examining
from the
military
margins.
grant description. Examining
Examining military service from the margins,
From the
margins. I don't even know what that means. From the margins, complicated
Margins.
or marginalized,
That-
maybe.
Yeah, the marginalized people.
Yeah,
which
the
are
people who are victims, right?
Yeah.
From the victim, complicated.
Native Americans.
So they're saying it's
LGBT.
complicated, right? So that's the one way they try to stop us from having a conversation with them. They say it's the context. It's so complicated. It's so much that
Yeah.
we have to have a 1,000-hour research into it before we can even join them. So anybody that doesn't have 1,000 hours of research can't participate, and they're invalidated.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You can't comment.
Right. And this is
on-
the complicated service discussion. So they're trying to say that discussion cannot be had by just anybody. People have to have
just
a
just the people on the
co-sign by people in
margins.
academia before they can have this conversation.
Yeah, and you have to be in the margins. You have to be identifying
Yeah.
as a woman.
A
or
series
Native
will
American.
bring together
veterans.
veterans,
Will bring together veterans and community
community members to examine the experiences
members to examine the experiences of service members
who identify. So this isn't them being that way, but they're identifying that way. So anybody can identify themselves as female, and that's the hint for the trans thing.
who
So-
identify themselves
yeah.
as female, black,
Women in the military, blacks, Native Americans, LGBT
Yeah.
plus.
Well, that's the thing is that the Karens realize that it's kind of sexist for them to say they need money because they're a female. So instead, they say that trans is a marginalized group, and that anybody who's identifying as a female needs to be is considered marginalized.
Yeah, they're identifying as marginalized.
So they add the parameter of identifying as female are being marginalized. So Karens are under that umbrella. So they use trans to insert themselves into that umbrella that anybody that is identifying as a female has this issue, which Karens identify as female also. So they are protecting themselves with the trans movement as it's also providing that parameter for the Karens to protect themselves. So they are bad faith in that dimension because they want the trans to keep going, because that's what's giving them the ability to say that those that are identifying as female are being harassed. And who else identifies as female? Well, Karens do. So they're chameleoning themselves into the trans movement as a Karen.
black, Native American, LGBTQ.
Right, that's being defeated through peace, where now we got to hand out all the money to everyone that's a victim, and so all the people are signing up and getting into a line for proving that they're a victim.
Or an immigrant, the dynamics, reasoning, and strength behind serving a country that does not always serve you in return. Did I read that correctly?
That doesn't always.
Yes.
You and Mr.
Yeah,
Fox
marginalized
identify
people are mistreated by the country
that
they
does
serve.
not always
basically.
And see, this is another one of those Karenology dynamics right here. Does not always. So they're speaking in inverse language. Inverse language is the best fence-sitting vocabulary to use because they don't have to take a side. They're saying what side they're not on or what's right. So they're not saying that they're always doing bad things. They're saying they don't always do good things. Which is true. Sometimes people can't always do good things. So they are purity testing the military by saying they can't always do good things, and that's why I'm a victim. Does not always serve you in return. So for them to not be a victim, they always have to be served in return. Now I can think of heterosexuals that are not, like, there are people on the streets, homeless guys and women too, that are veterans. So why should we focus on the LGBTQ more than guys that are heterosexual or girls that are heterosexual that are veterans? So it's that DEI, like, let's focus on these specific groups.
Yeah.
serve you in return.
Like,
But yeah, this is the inverse language meta right here, where they don't want to take a side, so they add a word not, and they do the inverse. Because that way, they don't even accuse anything, they're just saying what's not happening. Like, they're complaining about what's not happening.
yeah.
They don't want to say what they want. What do they want? They want to always be served in return? That's their expectations. Their expectations is to always be served in return.
Which is
And so the parameter
unrealistic.
is very, 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 very broad. That anytime someone's not served in return, that's satisfying
They're
their
a victim.
parameter.
Yeah, they're automatically a victim on the fringes.
Right. Like, if I want to get out of something and someone's asking me where my position is, I can tell them where my position is not, and therefore I don't have to take a side. Like if a girl says to me that she loves me, and I tell her that, well, I don't hate her, what am I telling her?
That you don't love her.
Well, if I say I don't hate her, I'm not saying that I love her. I'm just
Yeah, you're just
it's
dodging
an
it.
implication bid. I'm bidding for her to imply what I hope she wants. I'm hoping she implies the good thing, rather than I don't really care. I'm just waiting for this girl to like get in the back of the car with me again. So when she asks if I love her, I can just be like, well, I don't hate her. Which is true. But
So,
she might imply from that I do love her
ugh.
in that analogy. But in the same way, in the same way, people don't say hateful language anymore. They say, I just don't like. I just don't like that. So they're not saying that person's terrible. That person's not reliable. That person's a poor historian. This person's has lousy competency. These are ways to describe a negative characteristic about a person. But if I want to escape that by sitting on the fence, I just do inverse language. I just say, well, they're just not the good thing. What bad thing are they? I don't want to say. I don't want to say what bad thing they are. I'm just going to complain in general direction, hoping that someone else does the work to identify what's the bad thing.
Well, yeah, you never have to say.
Right, and that's one of the gender licks. Gender licks is the study between how males and females communicate differently. So females are known to be more passive, and men are known to be more assertive. And so women have learned to do indirect speech, which is that inverse language, which is instead of saying what they like, they inverse that, and then they say the word not, or like they don't like that. But yeah, that's what I have to say about the does not always return. Does not
Yes.
always. And the always term adds in that catastrophic thinking there. Does not always. Which is unrealistic expectation to always want something in return. Because sometimes, like, people do not get something in return, and they're not necessarily a victim. It's just how it goes.
Sometimes they're a victim of their own actions.
Well, I think they also have
A lot
to
of time.
prove that they're getting the negative outcomes far more than others, and that it's based on their identity, not because of some sort of choice they made. Because they're trying to make it seem like they performed the best that they could,
Yeah,
but
they're
how they were born is what's holding them back.
yeah,
And so that's why they have to code sexuality as a birth thing. But that never translates into anything else other than that. So for example, if someone's like, oh, they are a serial killer, but they're born this way, we're not going to just like keep letting them do it because they're born that way and it's against their choice. If someone says, oh, they steal from other people, but they're born to be a thief, we're just going to put them in jail. Like, them being born a certain way does not like stop like that.
exclude them.
It does
of
not
all
exclude them from
consequences.
punishment, right?
Or consequences of their own actions.
Yeah, if someone is
like,
out there and contaminating more people with more HIV, and they can't help themselves, they're just born to do that behavior of having sex in that way, and it was against their will, then that's how they try to escape that. They try to do the infantilization where they're just a little kid that doesn't know any better, and that's how they're born, and they can't control themselves, right? Which I like to think that adults should have the expectation that they can control themselves, and if they can't control themselves, then they into the box.
indeed.
Yes, it appears so.
Why did you do that?
because it explicitly says LGBTQ.
And this guy's doing Karen tactics in return, where he's being very, I guess, I don't know if trite's the correct word, but he's trying to obfuscate his own language too. Because both sides are trying to obfuscate their language as a mechanism of like Machiavellian mechanics. And so obviously he's not going to want to, like, he's using Karen magic against Karen magic. And
Well,
so,
I think his main defense is this is my job. My job is to
yeah.
follow these orders that I was given, which is to eliminate DEI, and this objective has certain parameters, and these are the parameters that I was given. So I followed the rules of the job I was given. Like, that's his defense.
And they're trying to catch him on a technicality. So that's why they want him to like define every single little thing so they can have a gotcha moment on something that can be misunderstood. Doesn't matter if it's bad or not, it's just can they spin it in a way that makes him sound like a bad meanie head.
That's it. Oh my God, bro. Elon hired the best of the best. He did.
God, I miss
He
Elon.
hired some real
I
winners.
miss fucking Elon.
Holy fuck. This is the most based I've seen. I told y'all, like, they need to. This is the thing, is they need to bring
My understanding is Doge
back.
is still doing stuff.
And they need to
I
take
just
it,
wonder,
like,
I wish that they were more public about what they're
I guarantee
doing.
you that you can get like 1,000 of these guys.
Like Nick Shirley
and
should
just
be on
have
Doge.
them total Karen
Yeah, well, see, Doge still does
obliteration.
their job, but without
That's what I wanna see.
Elon as an
Doge still exists?
intermediary, like
Well, they
with
gotta go
the
even
higher
more.
up people,
History and like, let's say,
Doge doesn't have
scholarly
the
peer
power
review.
to follow through.
He just
Did you hear that? So they're now trying to do the pretty vector, which is,
Let's
wow,
say,
look at them.
scholarly.
They are scholarly peer reviews. So they're trying to make it sound like it's so extravagant and they're so nice on that who would ever doubt them because they're scholars. So he's saying very pretty language about these people, these buzzwords about these people that make them sound very, very pretty, to try to get this guy to panic.
Peer review.
He just, bro. He just the concept of that is just funny.
It's more identity
Scholarly
politics. These
peer
people are
review.
scholars, so we have to listen to them.
Right.
If they're
Scholarly
scholars, they should be
peer
able to
review.
articulate their position
No.
Okay.
No.
in a
So,
salient
but
way.
this judgment call was made by you and your
Yes.
personal judgment combined with Justin's personal judgment to cancel grants based on DEI.
Yes.
Okay.
I love it.
Right, he canceled them because they're DEI.
Finally.
Right, which in the EO they said that we're going to
Fucking
cancel that.
finally.
So his job was to
Wow.
cancel DEI stuff.
Yes.
Do you think it's inappropriate in any way
Inappropriate.
that someone in their 20s would
See how it, instead of calling this guy a negative term, he says that he's not appropriate by saying inappropriate. So instead of saying the bad language or the hateful language of what this guy's doing, he's trying to accuse this person of not being appropriate. Okay, so what's the terrible thing he's doing? He's just not doing the good thing enough. He's not doing
Yeah,
appropriate thing enough. So it's an implication bid where he doesn't, the interviewer doesn't ask a particular specific question. He wants to imply something by doing a very generalized accusation and try to see if this guy's going to get tripped up or panic by being called inappropriate.
no experience with grants or federal government was making personal judgment calls about what
Right,
grants
so
to
he's
cancel?
trying to make this guy look less pretty on how he presents himself by being like, this guy's just in his 20s, he's no experience, compared to these scholar people who have reviewed each other.
Yeah,
No.
and he's saying it's his personal preference. He never asked him if it was his personal preference. He assigned that these are his personal preferences to why he was designating these grants as crazy and ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
When in fact he was saying, no, I was given parameters that were outlined to me, and I designated from the parameters that were given to me.
Right.
It's so dishonest.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to paint this guy as an inappropriate little 20-year-old who doesn't know what he's doing and is going against the monolith of the peer-reviewed people.
No, I don't think it's inappropriate.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of stupid-ass old people that have a bunch of fake degrees with a bunch of other stupid-ass old people that agree with them. It's just a bunch of sociologists
how do they
that have
prove to
created
the general
a
public
caring
that they know what's
consensus
best?
and then tried to develop
than
a
just saying
curriculum
that they
around
co-sign
it.
each other.
And now everybody's supposed to pay attention? Fuck that. Get the
Asmon's
fuck
like
out of here.
dead on here.
It's not complicated. These people think they're smart. They're stupid. That's why they're in the position they're in.
Right, most people that are in academia that are not in the private field is because they can't go into the private field because they're not good enough to make money on the marketplace. And so instead they spend most of their time just teaching and co-signing each other and trying to figure out a way to get the grants. Because where is these grants going? Are these grants going to the study? And the study are the peer-reviewed scholars. So my understanding is who's studying the LGBTQ abolition? Well, it's some sort of scholar, so it's kind of conflict of interest, right? It's
This is kind of off topic, but recently they like people in the humanities have been posting these papers that have been peer reviewed, and it's just all these buzzwords. They're just like fake papers.
And that's
because the humanities don't have a way to check themselves. They get fooled by people just saying the words and making stuff up because it's all. There's no way for them to.
Because anybody that goes against the buzzword is a meanie head and is insensitive.
Yeah. So if you know the words, you can just make anything up you want, and they can't even really track you
that's
down.
what it's discussed in Douglas Murray's Madness of Crowds, where people in the crowd will say whatever they think the crowd wants to hear because they think the crowd approves all these words. And so when they hear that, they go, yep, I'm a good person because I'm thumbing up this buzzword. And so what they discovered is that there were some peer-reviewed articles that went through that were intentionally bullshit, but the reason why they passed is because they added in those buzzwords. And so, and then they said, hey, people shouldn't be able to pass whatever they want. Intentionally a bad article, if all they have to do is just say that, oh yeah, they got some sort of LGBTQ insight onto this.
Yeah.
Which, why is that insight any more special? Does that imply that LGBTQ insight is better for insight on one topic, while heterosexual insight is better for a different topic? If that's the case, then can they tell us what topic heterosexual insight is better in? If LGBTQ insight is better in prison abolition?
That is a good question.
Right, because I mean, if they have superpowers of insight for something, and if we believe in equality, then wouldn't other sexes have their own sex orientations have their own insight that is comparably powerful or potent in other dimensions? Anyway, I'm going to keep it going.
Why not?
Objection.
Why not? Because they're a caring committee. They're a caring committee.
A person can have enough judgment from reading books and being well informed outside of traditional experience to make judgment calls about obvious things.
People
like
can think about things
a grant
from their
that
own
literally
decisions
lists
that are legit.
DEI in its description to know whether it violates an executive order.
I'm sorry.
It's like the same thing for COVID, where it's like, I needed to have a doctor co-sign what I was doing. That they think that I can't have my own position, right? They try to invalidate the conversation through these metrics.
What books would you have read that would have informed your opinion on what grants to cancel based on DEI?
There were no books.
Why would you need a book? It's see. This is the
well, they're hiding behind those
oppression
books
of academia,
because most people don't want to read them.
They create an endless Russian nesting doll of qualifications to where they can endlessly purity test out anybody who disagrees with them.
It's conversationception.
This is all like of red tape. This is
they
what
want the conversation to keep going until
books
they're right.
taught me how to read. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. No books needed, just common sense. Yeah, like, prison abolitionists, feminist language. Yeah, we're not paying for that, obviously. Like, it's crazy how
it's so stupid that but then they're like, "Oh, explain how it's stupid." Oh, you're mean. That's kind of like that seems like their meta right now.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, the young kid he keeps doubling down on like the executive order was this. I was told to look for this.
Right.
It doesn't take a genius to
Yeah.
see that this is in this grant.
Right. And
Like,
the questioner is just trying to get him to panic by using buzzwords on him.
these people
yeah.
think
Oh,
that their
books?
fake
What books are you
degrees matter.
using?
Isn't it funny?
This 20
Like
20-hour long book.
Well, no,
has
you
the
don't
secret.
understand. So I had this degree, and the degree says I understand books. Oh, no, this means that, now it's okay for
Right, because if they're smart enough to understand the concepts, they should be smart enough to be able to have the active conversation with reasons, but they don't. And there have been multiple videos of those type of professors that have like gender study credentials being approached and being asked questions, and then they just want to end the conversation.
us to waste everybody's money on this. Nobody gives a shit about this. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up with your fake Karen consensus degrees. This right here is a patriot. I love it. I love seeing this. What's a fake degree and what's a real degree? Simple. A fake degree is one that causes you to write an essay about prison abolition, and a real degree is a degree that causes you to do something that matters.
Yeah. And in
Any
the
other
marketplace, a service.
Got anything else? It's pretty simple.
I think what happened was there's a large portion of time where people wouldn't have really serious conversations, and so they got all confused. And so now it's like they're rediscovering fire of these very basic mechanisms.
Yeah, it's really that simple. I mean, like, if it's a click, yeah, exactly. Like, actually work. I know, imagine that. And so we got this. Doge Bros explained how he flagged DEI. This guy received a Neuralink. What is this?
Why would learning about anti-black violence not be to the benefit of humankind?
Objection.
That's not.
He says no, bro. Fuck the objection. I'm gonna let him know. Oh my God. And you got to keep in mind, this is the reason why
they're objecting because the lawyers are objecting because it's a very loaded question. Like, it's already leading.
attacking
guys like
Doge
Shaw
so
answer
hard
anyway.
and these guys so hard. The reason why is because they are breaking down the institutional,
The nesting dolls, yeah.
basically structure that they
All the
use to
consolidated
create
power
white
that
guilt
they had.
inside of
All
new
these little
Americans
lies
and young
being
men.
confronted.
And so as
Because the
soon
lies
as
would
you
stand when
delete
no one
all
called
of this
bullshit.
garbage, this worthless...
It's like that one game. What's that one game where it's like, what's in the bag? It's Sheriff of Nottingham.
Yeah.
So it's like Sheriff of Nottingham, where they present their idea and no one calls bullshit on it for so long, it almost becomes the Emperor has no clothes. So now people are like, yeah, this is just the Emperor has no clothes on right now, and they're like, what? What do you mean? Well, define clothes. Define clothes.
No, you're not supposed to call bullshit on my ideas.
Only peer-reviewed scholars can know what clothes are.
Yeah.
Garbage. Then finally you can have people that can learn to have self-respect for their own identity. That's the reason why they go after these guys, is that they're stopping the source. They're systematically breaking down the bullshit. Yep.
Right, they're breaking down
Okay, then what I'm saying. I'm saying it
Sauron's.
relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion. You said it's not to the benefit of humankind, right? Is that what I said? Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what I said?
Could you read back the witness's response about benefits to humankind?
Uh-huh.
Question, why would that be DEI? Answer, it's focusing on a singular race. It is not for the benefit of humankind. It is focused on a specific group or a
Right,
specific
they're saying
race,
that
here
it's
being
sexist
black.
or racist to be focusing on those marginalized groups.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
they're just focusing on
so
one.
essentially they're trying to make it official that this is inverse racist and sexist, where they are identity politicking themselves to get extra
I am so
resources from the
happy right
masses.
I am. This is amazing. Thank God. You are completely right. And all of these stupid people, oh no, oh what's this? Oh, but it's just you can't.
And the thing is, they can do what they want as long as they're not taking our money. But it's my problem when they start taking our money. I don't care about what the LGBTQ people do as long as they're not taking my money.
His answer could have been not a retard, and that would have summed it up just fine. Yeah, I guess so. Holy fucking shit. And wait.
Bunch of aircrafts as a consequence of Elon Musk's.
The audio is just so bad I can't watch this.
I wonder what that one had.
And the meme lives. Yep, there it is. Why are former Doge employees being interrogated like this? I don't know actually why. I didn't really look into it. And spitting cold reality. Yep, there it is. Why are they even questioning these people? I think that there's a few other of these that I've seen. I just didn't get a chance to look at them.
I'd love to see them talk to Elon
let me
about
go
it.
back and
Elon
there
is
is this one.
Elon's
this is one.
all the way
I think these
against it
guys
because
deserve to have their
they killed
lives
his
ruined,
son.
and I hope this all goes brutally for them. So this is some guy from the co-host of Left Reckoning. Here we go.
I think there's a reason they did. Yeah, I think there's a reason why they didn't.
I think it's actually the opposite
to their lawyers.
It looks like these guys ruined a bunch of other people's lives. That's it.
Well, I think they're talking to these guys because I think that they thought these people were inexperienced and just bend the knee out of pressure of some guy in a suit and some lady in there cornering them and trying to like.
They're $10 words.
Yeah, $10 words and try to be like, are you really going to stand up to the monolith of the academics out there who have their whole life scholarly studying the books and that they're just a little 20-year-old who they had right? So they're just trying to pressure him by making it seem like they're trying to make him doubt himself by trying to get him to panic.
Deserved, by the way.
Yeah, you're taking the income away from our parents.
A huge
All
brain
our
drain.
parents need this income.
All this has just been questions that are trying to elicit panic and not actually going into more of the reasons on why we should be giving these people money. It's just more of like, isn't this inappropriate for a 20-year-old to say?
How dare you take away the income of the Karens?
Yeah. How they had children they're trying to feed. You're starving these people. So they're not actually trying to get into the reasons that the scholarly people indicate and why this is needed. They're just saying, how dare they?
The recruitment was snatched away. Oh, I don't know about the Doge and the recruitment for the military. I haven't even heard about that. It's the first time I'm hearing of it.
More of that guy?
Is this? Okay, here it is. This is the same one. Same idiots who canceled State Department grant for a conference with trans-specific security issues because it had the word trans in it. So this is another tactic of the mind of a Karen. Now, this is a guy named Tom, so it's probably a dude, but at the same time, there can be people that are Karens that are men.
Kevins.
You create a system and a structure that is so obnoxious, annoying, and ingrained into created into a problem. And then you now complain when somebody tries to unravel this.
Their job is not having a job, and they're really good at it.
The system, and now it's like, oh my God, but you made a mistake. Yeah, your entire system was a mistake. And they made a few fuck-ups getting rid of it. If you didn't want that to happen, maybe you shouldn't have made the fucking
how to
system.
make optics look bad and get people to panic or pity them.
How do you interpret DEI?
There was the EO explicitly laid out the details.
And this is Karen magic.
I'm asking for your understanding of it.
Yeah, my understanding was exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay, so can you,
Which that's what Karens would do. They'd just say, oh, refer to subsection da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, yeah, we just refer to subsection da-da-da-da. Oh, communicate with the committee. Call them up in the consulate. Call them up in the...
Yeah.
Call their number.
I did my job. What was the job? It's in the order. What is your understanding of the job? It's exactly what was in the order.
It's in a bunch of papers over here. So it's just redirecting. Yeah, which is The only magic that works against these people is just acting like they do, which is just refer to this other file. So it's like, if they have a problem with the EO, then they need to bring that up. But they're trying to have him be separated from the EO. And so he's just like, okay, no, he's keeping it super simple, and they're trying to increase the complexity of this more than it needs to be.
Yeah, and that's what the first guy did too.
We know exactly what he thinks DEI is. And he's right. We all know what it is.
Didn't earn it.
Now, do you have an understanding of what DEI is?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your understanding as you sit here today in this deposition?
Well, it was exactly what was written in the EO. And so anytime that we would look at a grant through the lens of complying with an executive order, we would just refer back to the EO and assess if this grant had relation to it.
Right.
Okay, but I guess I'm stepping back from your methodology strictly interpreting the grants. Do you have an understanding as you sit here today of what DEI means?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your understanding of what it means?
Well, it is exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay, so
He knows that he's fucking with them. The thing is that the real answer is the answer that everybody knows.
They want to get into a conversationception where they're going to want to have the conversation as for as long as is needed until they get him trapped in a technicality. They want him to define the terms until eventually some of the terms don't add up because of some sort of technicality that's in some sort of definition somewhere, and go, gotcha. He didn't even know what that word meant. He didn't even know how to define that word according to X, Y, and Z. So they want to try to catch him on a technicality to make him look bad.
And he's like, I can do this all day.
Yeah, and he's just like, I have no need to get into that when the EO is what I'm going off of, because that's the good person that hired me. They hired me to enact the EO, and I did that.
Yeah, I didn't write the EO.
Yeah.
I was not involved in creating the EO. My job was to follow the EO.
It's not political.
But yeah, he's doing Karen magic because he doesn't want to give them an answer. He's looking to obfuscate, which is what they do.
Politically correct to give that answer right now, so they're giving a fake answer until it is.
They're ready for the Overton window to shift.
We all know what DEI is. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, the Overton window isn't there yet.
You can't really say that yet, so we've got to use these games.
Right, play their games.
And I don't have the EO in front of me, but we would always reference back to the EO and make sure.
So if they want to say we're referencing back to this book, we're just going to say we're referencing this other thing.
The EO.
I understand that. Okay, but I'm not asking necessarily about what was in the EO. I'm asking very specifically about your present understanding of what of DEI. Do you have
Why not just say it?
I like how he pretends like he's thinking and he says the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, let me think for a little bit.
It's pretty simple.
Oh yeah, EO.
What's DEI? It's exactly what.
And that's just him like micro-macing their time.
I mean, he just said it. Yeah, so exactly what they say in the executive order.
Understanding of the EO? Okay. Can you explain what that present understanding is?
Yeah.
Well, it's just easier for me to be referencing back to the EO.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's obviously the reason why.
Because it sounds good to say that.
Pussies. That's
and
okay. No,
and so he's trying to pretty farm himself.
Whenever you're dealing with people
he's
like
pretty
this,
farming by being like, instead of saying, I'm referring to the scholarly people, peer-reviewed people, he's looking pretty by associating himself with the EO.
Yeah, well, he's saying we live in a democracy, and the people voted for a president who created an executive order, and I am the person that, was in charge of identifying grants that went against the executive order that was voted by the democracy. Like, it's
right.
Like, but they're not attacking that. They're just trying to make him.
They're trying to consolidate power and reduce the other team's consolidation of power, because the other side that's against DEI is trying to consolidate power right now. So they're trying to pick off people that are trying to stand up for that side. So if someone's trying to stand up against DEI, they are systematically trying to get them into a room and trying to make them look bad, so that they can take away that consolidation of power that's trying to build to confront this monolith of the academic scaffolding that has created all this fraud.
Be deceptive. It's annoying. Oh, and then here we go too.
Yeah, they're trying to pick people down that are trying to stand up against them.
Retweeting it, legendarily based, abso-fucking-lutely. Thank God.
It's like they're trying. If Saruman is like, I'm going to be on the good guys team, Sauron is trying to make sure that Saruman switches teams. So they're systematically trying to figure out if they can try to fight a Saruman to switch teams to their team by getting them to panic. By being like, how powerful the Karens are. The scholarly people have spoken.
Have this happening. Do you regret
The precious
taking money from
LGBTQ
programs
people
that
we
may
must
have led
protect.
to people dying? No.
But to destroy it, we have to go to the mountain of Mount Doom. We can only destroy them by who created them. So we're trying to see who is the creator of the ring of the LGBTQs, which is academia, and who funds academia,
like
which I believe is like the Chinese fund him. Anyway,
a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are you going to say?
Back to China.
Any final thoughts?
No,
That's pretty
that
much
was,
it. I'm just
that puts a button on it. I do wish Elon would come back first of every year, like turn it into like a annual
anniversary.
Thing. Yeah. Elon comes back to work for Doge for like a couple weeks.
Yeah. Well, like more of this information that Douglas Murray got out in his book just needs to keep being disseminated, because a lot of people panic when they get into the buzzword traps. And they don't know that a lot of the answers are really, really simple, but they get confused and they don't understand that. A lot of people in the crowd are not on that team. So a lot of people in the crowd are joining the DEI because they think that the crowd's on that side. But no, the vast majority of people are not about it. And don't want their money being used in that dimension.
Yeah, and that is how democracy works.